Hi, Maitri. Thanks for finally finding some time to join us. My name is Georgie. I am one of the spokesperson for Angel Stack. What we do is we try and give visibility to founders like yourself uh, with a blog post, a podcast on YouTube, and a couple of other social media channels. And yeah, I'm hoping to kind of have a back-to-back conversation with you and try and understand more about you and your business. To take it forward, can you please tell me about yourself and what it is that you do?
Hi, Georgie. Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure to be here. So, to say something about myself, I have done a lot of things in life. A couple of things that I would like to talk about are being a pilot, which is my primary profession. So, I was flying commercial airline aircraft for quite a while, like about 15 years. I've been flying commercial aircraft. And thereafter, in the last 4 or 5 years, I've also been dabbling in making natural skincare products. So it started as literally just started as a hobby, and it started as something that I was passionate about, something that I tried out for myself and for my husband mainly. And yeah, it has now panned out into a full fledged business, which I'm very excited by, and also a tiny bit anxious about since this is the very first business that I'm running personally. But yeah, it's been a fun journey.
Was there a reason as to why you thought a business mo would be something that you wanted to start? Was there someone in your family that you thought kind of prompted you to do this?
I think it was a lot of encouragement from family and friends both. So I've done multiple things. So, like how during COVID people had kids and, you have COVID babies. I think my brand was a COVID brand, and that was my COVID baby really. So I mean, I actually started full-fledged baking when I was, free during the COVID period because of course there were no flights that were operating at that time, which gave me a lot of free time, which meant I started indulging in a lot of passions that I finally had the time for. So one of them was baking, and one of them was also making skincare products. It started just honestly, it arose out of need. I needed something to take care of my lips and my skin since I have very dry lips and very dry skin. And also, my husband needed something. He was constantly having lip allergies, which he would go to the dermatologist for, and he would get some cream and he would apply it, and it will go away. 6 months later, the allergy will be back, and this process kept repeating. The allergy never went away completely for him for close to 6 years. He suffered with lip allergies, and he tried changing so many different products, thinking, okay, maybe it's the lip balm, maybe it's the face wash, maybe it's the face cream. So many things that he tried, and nothing worked out. And I also thought, okay, let me try making a lip balm that is all natural, and maybe that will help him as well. Yeah, I mean, it took me quite a bit of trial and error to get around to actually getting the formula right. But once I did, it was magical. It has been 5 years now since I first made my lip balm, and my husband has been completely allergy free for the last 5 years. So that is literally how it started. And after that, it's been a very slow journey. I started making body butters after the lip balm. Then I started making soaps. And all of this was primarily for me and my family. And all my friends would get tiny gift hampers once in a while from me. And they were all very excited about it and they loved it. And I think, yeah, they were, I think, the major encouragement for me to sort of begin my entrepreneurial journey, saying, yeah, you should go ahead and sell these. These are really good. So that's how it started.
Brilliant. So, you're talking about your husband and his lip allergies, right? Would you say that he was one of your first guinea for your trial and error method?
Absolutely. So this is a running joke between me and my husband. That since I'm a natural brand, and I make cruelty free products. So I want to write on the label that not tested on animals, and within brackets, but I tested it on my husband, and he is a pig.
I think I'd be sold by that idea. Like if someone ever told me that it was tested on their husband or like wife or parents, like I'd be like, okay, I'm buying this product.
So that is literally the ultimate labor of love, right? Like I've made it for my husband, I've made it for my parents, and if I'm brave enough to use it on all of them, people that I love, then it's definitely safe for using, by strangers.
Fair enough. So if you were to explain your entire business to like let's say a 10-year-old, how would you explain it to them? Like why they want to choose or why would they suggest it to their parents or somebody else to use your products?
So I know there are a lot of brands which compete for this space. So natural skincare does seem to be the new buzzword. But something that I really think people should pay attention to is the actual ingredients that go into each product. I think most of the brands which claim to be natural, unfortunately, use a lot of synthetics and still sort of pour them off as natural. And it does get, in a lot of cases, it does get reflected in the ingredient list. But unfortunately, most people don't read the ingredient list. So I'm hoping in my own way, I get to educate people and I get to inspire them to use truly natural products that will be in harmony with your skin and with your body, rather than going for something synthetic. And also, something that I would like, my customers to go for is aromatherapy, which I think plays a huge role in our lives. And, a lot of times we don't even realize it. Like, the power of fragrances is something that not many people talk about, but literally your favorite biryani can trigger a childhood memory for you. And the smell of tea tree and lavender can be so calming. So these are things that we don't really actively think about, but it really plays a huge role in our lives. And it has the ability to calm us and to rejuvenate us and to refresh us, to energize us. That is something that I would like my customers to look for when they're buying a product from me.
I can personally tell you that I'm not a big fan of skincare products or mostly cosmetics in general. Uh, do you think it's actually absolutely necessary for us to use these products when we go out and, in the environment that we are in currently? Or
Absolutely.
are people better off maybe not using it at all?
See, very honestly, if you ask me, I would tell you your grandmother's recipes were the best, right? I mean, they used milk and they used something that's called kadalamavu, which is besan, that was used, and green moong dal powder was used. All of these were used as exfoliants and to bathe. And we used sesame oil, we applied it all over our bodies. And after that, we used a mixture of milk and besan and the green moong dal powder to wash it off of us. And that was amazing. I mean, really, that is how you should be taking care of your body. But in this day and age, nobody seems to have the time for that, right? Nobody has the time to, sit and mix a powder and milk, and then that has to be done fresh every single time you go into the bath. So, nobody has the time for such things. So the best alternative that you can use is a 100% natural product that will take care of your skin, that will take care of your soul. Honestly, I mean, you cannot be using synthetic products which have a known record of being carcinogens. I mean, there are so many big brands that I'm sure you're also aware of, who have been pulled up lately and who have been there for decades, right? Like, I mean, literally 4 or 5 decades these brands have been there, and they've just been peddling chemicals and everybody has been buying it. And it's high time that we realize that these are not okay for our body and these are carcinogens, and we need to get away from them. We need to go back to basics. We need to go back to nature. That's really the only way to truly live in harmony with nature.
Fair enough. Is there any competitor of yours that you think is your closest competitor in terms of, let's say, that you would appreciate that they actually do some good work?
Yes, there is, in fact, one really good brand which I absolutely admire. I think they do a fairly good job of keeping it all natural, and it's Juicy Chemistry. So that is something that I would definitely look at as my future competitor. I cannot even say my current competitor at the scale that I'm in right now, but definitely, their products are great. But I do feel that their pricing honestly is not so great. Like, just because you're making something natural, it does not have to be expensive. I feel like that is something that has really been blown out of proportions. I think everybody has this notion that if it has to be healthy, it has to be expensive. I don't subscribe to that at all. So I'm trying to make natural skincare, with essential oils, zero synthetics, zero chemicals, right? And not even chemical fragrances. So a lot of brands, if you see, not Juicy Chemistry, there are so many other brands which claim to be natural but use synthetic fragrances. All the other ingredients might be almost there, but they use synthetic fragrances, they use synthetic emulsifiers, things like that. So, so I'm hoping that, people realize that that is not okay. And I'm hoping to, yeah, one day be a competitor for Juicy Chemistry.
Brilliant. If I were to ask you who your dream customer would be, how would you define them?
I think my dream customer would be someone who truly appreciates what I bring to the table, right? So it has to be someone who wants to go all natural, who is passionate about sustainability and about going back to our roots and about aromatherapy, especially, and the benefits of it. So, yeah, somebody who can actually understand this, or at least when they experience it, somebody who values that. I think somebody like that is definitely my true customer.
Fair enough. And why would they choose you? Like, what are the things that you bring to the table that would make them want to choose you?
So, just like I said before, this is something that unfortunately a lot of people don't realize, but I hope they do soon. So my products are 100% natural. They're all handcrafted and they made in small batches. So it is not commercially made. It is not made with any sort of synthetics. Like literally, even the preservatives that I use. A lot of people think that using preservatives automatically makes it a chemical product. It does not. So there are a lot of preservatives that are actually organic certified. So there is an organization which certifies a lot of these preservatives and emulsifiers and everything to be organic. So I use only those preservatives, only those emulsifiers which are absolutely required to make a cream. And anything that contains water in it, you need to have an emulsifier and you need to have a preservative, right? So even those I use completely natural and organic certified ones when compared to a lot of commercial brands out there which don't. And I use pure essential oils as well instead of synthetic fragrances that are just lab made. So, which is why I really think, and honestly, the hook is the fragrance. I really think once somebody smells a soap of mine, or once somebody smells a hand cream or a body lotion of mine, they're never going back to anything else that is synthetic. That much I can assure you, and they keep coming back. I have a lot of repeat customers, and it's a pleasure to see so many people appreciate my hard work and my formulations. But that is what it is. That is what I bring to the table. Completely natural aromatherapy.
Fair enough. And how long have you been around in the industry? That's from COVID. I'm guessing 3 years, 4 years?
So I started formulating during COVID, but after that, I didn't really start a business for the longest time. So I would personally think that it's been a little more than 1.5 years that I've actually been in the business. Before that, it was just friends and family. Whoever wanted something, I would just give it to them. That is how it was running. So the last 1.5 years is when I've actually established it as a business and I'm running it as a business now.
Got it. And okay, so can you tell me something about your customers that really surprised you? Like, okay, that's not what I expected of this industry or my customer base.
Yeah, that's one thing that I was very surprised by. So I'm a person who's very fond of essential oils in general. They really fascinate me, and I'm very fond of trying out different essential oil combinations and figuring out they affect my emotions and how they affect my moods, and if they make me happy, if they make me refreshed, if they calm me down, things like that. Um, I was so surprised initially that, when I went to some pop up stalls that I took part in, there were so many people who would come and who would smell something and it'd be like, oh, this is too strong. I can't take it. It's giving me a headache. And then the next person will come along and they'll smell it. It's like, I can't smell anything. How much have you put in this? So that was something that really surprised me. The range of people that there are out there, and everybody's sense of smell and everybody's likings are so different. But I'm also thinking maybe it's because of COVID that some people have lost their sense of smell.
I think I would be one of those people who would be like really, like taken aback by the how strong the stench is because I every time I go to like a perfume store, I'm like, dude, I can't stay here for more than 5 minutes because it's too like There's so much smell around me. But my friends would be like comfortable with, testing out a couple of different perfumes, but I'm not.
Yeah, that is actually something that really surprised me. So because of all of that feedback that I've gotten, that there are so many different kinds of people who have so many different kinds of needs. So there are a lot of people who want all natural products, but they don't want any fragrance in it because they are so affected by strong smells. So I've actually started making fragrance-free versions of a lot of my products because of this feedback that I've gotten. But that really surprised me. Initially, I did not have a single fragrance-free one because to me that was the soul of the product. But yeah.
So, when you first started off, did you just do your research online, or I mean, I remember you talking about your grandmother, or I think in general, grandparents and people of that generation, right? So, did you actually go back to your parents or your grandparents and ask them for advice, or did you just do your research online?
I think it was a mixture of both. So initially, it started as just online research and to find out what ingredient is best for your lips and things like that. And when my mother found out, that I was doing all of this, she was telling me that you should ask your grandma also. She has done all of this at home. I mean, obviously nobody ran a business in those days with these things. It was so natural that you just made it and everybody in the home used it. So maybe you can get her input as well, which I did. And she gave me some brilliant points. She told me about so many different kinds of oils that I could use, and how those have some Ayurvedic benefits, like what benefits sesame oil has, and what benefit olive oil would have, and castor oil, and things like this. Which, I mean, all you see when you try to learn about it on the internet is very, you kind of like skim over the top of all of these topics, but these are people who have experienced it firsthand using all of these oils on an everyday basis. So which was very refreshing to get so much input from my grandmother and from my mother as well about the different ingredients that I can use in my formulations.
So let's talk about your operations, right? Like as a business, what is something that your customers did not know about what happens in let's say in your warehouse or in your manufacturing or in terms of your hustle that you're oddly very proud of?
I think one thing that immediately catches the attention of people when I tell them is that I formulate all of the products myself. I don't have somebody who is appointed specifically for this. No, I'm the founder of the business, and I formulate all of the products myself. At one point, I was manufacturing them myself as well. As in, I was sitting and making all of these with my own hands for the longest time until very recently. And that is something that people find very surprising, that that I have done all of this. So that is the quickest way to sort of catch the attention of people, especially at pop-up stalls. You tell them I made this myself, and they come one step closer saying, oh, really, you did? And then they're more interested. And I didn't even know this. I didn't know that caught the fancy of people until my husband started helping me out. I didn't even know he was a marketing guy. He really surprised me with that. So he accompanied me to one of the pop-up stalls, and he started talking to passers-by, and he said, my wife has made all of this. And they were literally looking straight away, having a conversation. And when they heard that, they turned around and said, you did? And and then they were interested in the product. So yeah, that is something that always takes people by surprise.
Brilliant. So the next question I want to ask, what or why is a pilot doing this? Because I think from a very young age, I've heard pilots do make a lot of money. So compared to your actual full-time job as a pilot or a commercial pilot, right? Like, are you actually making money doing this business, or how fulfilling is it?
Yeah, I think I'm making a lot more satisfaction than I'm making money at this point. uh, so yeah, very honestly, it was just born out of passion. The business was just born out of passion. But yeah, I mean, being a pilot for 15 years has sort of taken its toll on my body. It's really not easy being a pilot, the kind of stress that is associated with it. A lot of people tend to view it as a very cool job and a very glamorous job. But there's a lot of stress that comes along with it. And it also includes a lot of late nights and early mornings. So, getting up at 3 a.m., twice a week. And then the fourth day from then again, you're going to sleep only at 5 a.m. And then 2 days later, you're up all night and you go to sleep at 9 a.m. And, so these cycles are very random and they're very erratic. So that really does take a toll on your body's circadian rhythm. So yeah, I mean that is one thing that I've learned, that you need to take care of your body, which is also the reason why I started, making my own skincare products, because I realized how important it is and how essential it is to take care of yourself. And and that is what prompted it. But I'm honestly finding so much satisfaction out of making these products that is benefiting people, right? Like, I mean, there are so many people who come to me and say, you know what, I've tried so many lip balms. I kid you not, I have never found one that works, and yours is the only one that works, and I'm never buying anything else. And to hear that, the kind of satisfaction and the contentment that you get when you hear something like that is incomparable. So that's what keeps me going.
Brilliant. And so talking about your profession, right? Like, how do you find the time for this? I understand how erratic your job is, but how do you find time to make these products on your own? And do you have staffing that is helping you with the production, or how does it work?
So I'm a very, very small organization at this point. So I'm the founder and I'm the formulator of the brand. I also design my own labels for all of the products, and I place the order for all of the ingredients that need to be ordered, all the raw materials that need to be ordered, all the bottles and the jars, the pumps, and everything else that need to be ordered. All of that is my responsibility. I'm sure I'm missing out a few more responsibilities as well. Other than this, I do have two other people who are working with me. So one of them is responsible for the everyday production and packaging. So like I said, we make everything in small batches. So literally, we keep stock of only a maximum of 30 to 40 items of each variant. As and when these get over, as and when these are sold, again we make a fresh batch. So this is what happens on an everyday basis. And also all of the orders that come in either directly or through Instagram or through my Shopify page or through Amazon, all of these also need to be packed. So the same employee does that as well. So she does all of the packaging, she takes care of that. And then one more, I have a social media manager, because I am really bad at it. I think I'm a little too old for social media at this point. I feel
I
like
think we all are.
so I have someone who helps me with that.
Perfect. Yeah, I just wanted to ask. I mean, I'm sure there are days where things go, I mean, not as per your plan, right? Because I'm sure it's a business, and then you're a pilot and you have a family and your uh, husband that you use as a guinea pig. So how does this whole, how do you function? Like, do you call somebody when things go sideways, or do you talk to your husband? Who do you talk to?
I have a few friends, who are, I would say, especially one of them who's I call him a serial entrepreneur. I'm very inspired by him. Anytime I speak to him, he's bursting with ideas, and, he gives me so much to chew on, to think about, and he really inspires me. So, that is one person that I really look up to, and I really look forward to catching up with him. And, he is definitely someone that I call when, things are going down south or something, and I really need some reassurance that I'm on the right path, or if I need to sort of run some things by him and get some ideas from him. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, there is one person that I absolutely look up to for that. Other than that, I do have a couple of other friends who have also been entrepreneurs in different stages of their lives, who give me that confidence to go ahead and do this. Because initially, when you start off any business, right, like, the numbers don't look good, they really don't. And it can seem very discouraging, especially for someone like me who has never run a business. So to call someone and to hear that, yeah, this is okay, this is how it's meant to look initially, you will make profits, you will get there, so just hang in there and just do what you like, and you will see the results eventually. So you need someone to tell you that once in a while. So yeah, I do have some friends that I bank upon for that.
That's awesome. So we're talking about numbers and profits, right? So can you tell me if there is one metric that you look at on a daily basis and you're like, okay, maybe I feel a little better today because this seems to be growing.
Yeah, absolutely. So one thing that I love looking at is the number of packages that get out of my production unit every day. So I have my employee send me videos every single day. Like, I'm not able to visit the production unit every single day because of my other job, of course. So but I have her send me videos every day as to how many packages are going out, and it is the most satisfying thing when the video starts from here and she pans and she pans and she pans, and the entire table is filled with orders, nothing else to make you feel better. So yeah, that is definitely something that I look forward to every day, seeing the number of packages that go.
That's brilliant. So if I were to tell you that, so you told me that right from the research to the formulations to the design aspect of the packaging and vendor management, all of these things are carried out by you. You have a social media manager. You have someone to handle your production. So if you had unlimited amount of money to hire one single person, who would you hire, and what would they do?
I think I would definitely go for someone who has some skills that I'm sorely lacking at, which is marketing. I think I desperately need someone, who can market my brand and who can put it out there. So yeah, if I had the money to, I would definitely hire someone to do that for me.
Fair enough. And what are some qualities that you look for in early teammates?
I think what I love about even my current teammates, the two people that are working with me, what I absolutely love about them is their enthusiasm. They are as excited as I am. When they see the number of products that are going out or the number of orders that I'm getting, they are just as excited as I am. And that is something that I love sharing with them. It honestly feels like they are an essential part of the company, and I'm glad that they feel that way. I would like them to feel that way, and I'm really glad that they do.
That's nice. Do you have friction with your staffing at times, or is it like always peachy and nice?
I don't think that's how life works. Definitely not. So yeah, of course there are times when there were some deadlines, and people haven't met them, and so I get into this mode of this was supposed to be done by so and so date, and of course there is of course that friction that comes in, and there might be times when there is some ingredient that is running out, and I needed to place an order for it, but it was not conveyed to me that it is that urgent to place an order for that ingredient. So then I have to stop sale of that particular product, like I have to mark it unavailable for the near future, and yeah, that causes me a lot of anxiety. So yeah, of course there is always friction, but we work on it together, and I try to come up with, I'm also learning along the way, on how to be an entrepreneur, how to run a business, and it has been very tough, but I'm really glad that I've developed so many coping strategies for it. I keep trying to come up with ways to sort of make sure that it doesn't happen again. So I've incorporated more stock keeping days, so that there is always a written record of how many things there are, and how many jars there are, and how many lids there are, or, how many kgs of so and so oil there are. So yeah, I mean, it's a learning process, and we work through it together.
So if I were to ask you about your leadership style, would you say that are you building a family or are you trying to create a system? What are you like as a leader in your organization? I mean, it's just two people, but still, like, there's a lot of management, I'm sure.
Yeah, very honestly, I would like to think of it as family, because that is how I would like to think that I treat them, and I would like them to feel like they're part of this whole venture with me. I don't want them to feel like employees who are who have been given a particular goal, and they're trying to achieve that. I want them to feel like this is our venture and we're working on it together, and we're achieving something together, and we're making a lot of people happy, and that's how I would like to see it, and I hope that is how they see it too.
Let's say if I were to give you 25 lakhs today, what would you use that money for?
Like I said, I really think I'm going to go bonkers on marketing because I feel like that is sorely lacking for me. Yeah, I think I'm gonna figure out what are the best means of marketing, and try to put my money in those avenues which would give me the most sales. I think that is what I would like to spend the money on, and of course somebody who can figure out where that money should go. So yeah, definitely someone who can help me figure that out.
Got it. So you have a social media person, but you do not have someone for marketing currently. So if I ask you what is your current customer acquisition cost, can you tell me a figure if that's something that's available at the top of your head?
Yeah, so I recently did that calculation, just to get an idea of, okay, so am I even, so of course I went on to ChatGPT and I asked ChatGPT, what do you think is a reasonable customer acquisition cost to compare the values that I had? And yeah, thankfully it was not too far out. But yeah, as of now, my customer acquisition cost stands at around 100 per customer.
I think that's a good enough amount, especially for your industry. That's nice.
So I have no idea. Chat GPT told me so. So
So I had another question in terms of what is the one thing that keeps you up at night? But I'm pretty sure you're going to tell me marketing.
yes, I really
Fair.
didn't realize how important that was, in building a brand. To me, it was if you make great products, people are going to buy them. No, they're not. They don't know about your brand. So yeah, it's about putting yourself out there and making people know about your brand. So yeah, that is what I would like to work on.
Finally, I have a question. What is one hard truth that you had to figure out as a founder?
Just how difficult it is to run a business. Honestly, when I started it, I didn't think it would be so hard. I thought, okay, what's going to be so hard about it? I'm going to come up with the formula, and eventually I'll have someone who makes it, and then there'll be somebody else who's in charge of just packaging it, and everybody's going to sell it, and that's about it. I mean, what else do I have to do? It has taken a lot of work, and it has been unreal the amount of work that I put in. It actually is a full-time job running a business, which I was not aware of. So yeah, so literally I have two full-time jobs now. So yeah, that is something I wish somebody had told me, but I don't think it would have changed much. I think I'm really enjoying the journey so far. Let's see where it takes me.
Yeah, on that note, I have one more question. So if you could go back in time, would you do something differently?
One thing I would probably do differently is I think I would have been a lot more structured with, how I wanted to go about the business. I think I sort of started very haphazardly, as in I made products that I liked and that my husband liked and that we wanted, and I was trying to sell them. And then I realized that what people need might be very different from what I need. So I think I would have been a lot more structured if I had to start all over again, and maybe start with things that people would have preferred buying rather than what I was already making or what I personally wanted. uh, that is, I think, and also figuring out the process of going about it, like registering for my brand name, trademark registration, and all of that. I think I would have gotten to it much sooner, in the journey, or probably as the first thing in the journey, rather than sort of catching up to it eventually and trying to do it later. So yeah, definitely you learn a lot as you go along.
Brilliant. So, Maitreyi, thank you so much for your time. This was actually quite very insightful for me. This is a space that I'm not very familiar with. So, thank you for sharing your thoughts. And yeah, good luck with all of your future endeavors. I hope you turn out to be a massive unicorn at some point.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Georgie, for having me.